Humans were not created in one clean moment. There was no day where an ape gave birth and suddenly the baby was a fully modern human. That sounds simple, but evolution is not a switch. It is more like a crime scene where scientists keep finding old clues buried in bones, footprints, tools, and DNA. The first clue is in our genes. Humans and chimpanzees did not evolve from each other. We share an older ape ancestor that probably lived around 6 to 8 million years ago. After that, one branch eventually led toward chimpanzees and bonobos, while another branch eventually led toward us. But for a long time, scientists imagined this ancestor probably looked a lot like a chimpanzee. Then in 2009, researchers published studies on Ardipithecus ramidus, nicknamed Ardi, a 4.4 million-year-old fossil from Ethiopia. And Ardi was weird. She was not just half chimp and half human. Her body showed a strange mix of tree-climbing traits and early upright walking. That suggested our ancestors may not have started as chimp-like creatures slowly turning human. The real ancestor was probably something different, something stranger. Then comes one of the biggest clues ever found: footprints. In Tanzania, at a place called Latoli, scientists discovered ancient footprints preserved in volcanic ash. They are about 3.6 million years old, and they were most likely made by Australopithecus afarensis, the same species as Lucy. These footprints showed that human relatives were already walking on two legs long before they had big human brains. That is important because it flips the story. We did not become human because our brains suddenly got huge first. Walking came early, big brains came later, tools came somewhere in the middle, and even that story got messier in 2015. A team led by Sonia Harman published the discovery of stone tools from Lomekwi 3 in Kenya. These tools were about 3.3 million years old, older than the genus Homo itself, meaning stone tool use may have started before humans. Something before us was already smashing rocks with purpose. Not building cities, obviously, but not just living on autopilot either. So when people ask, how were humans created? The science answer is not one fossil, it is a chain of experiments. Walking upright, hands becoming more useful, tools becoming more controlled, social groups becoming more important, brains slowly getting better at memory, planning, imitation, and learning from others. And the crazy part is that these traits did not arrive together. Evolution did not drop one giant human update. Different human relatives had different pieces of the puzzle. Then in 2017, researchers published fossils from Jebel Irhoud in Morocco. These fossils pushed early Homo sapiens back to around 300,000 years ago. Before that, many people thought modern humans appeared later and more neatly in East Africa. But Jebel Irhoud made the story wider. It suggested early humans were developing across Africa, not in one tiny magical birthplace. And even when Homo sapiens appeared, we were not alone. There were other kinds of humans, Neanderthals, Denisovans, probably others we have barely found yet. In 2010, scientists published a draft of the Neanderthal genome, and the genetic evidence showed something wild. Some modern humans still carry Neanderthal DNA. That means when Homo sapiens moved out of Africa, they did not just replace every other human group instantly. Sometimes they met, sometimes they mixed. And tiny pieces of those ancient humans are still inside people today. So we are not the result of one perfect line. We are not ape, caveman, human, like those old drawings make it seem. We are the surviving branch of a messy family tree. A tree full of dead ends, cousins, experiments, migrations, climate changes, accidents, and tiny genetic changes that only mattered because someone survived long enough to pass them on. That is the most important part. There was probably never a first human in the way people imagine. No baby was born and everyone pointed at it like, that one, that is the first human. Every child looked mostly like its parents. But if you zoom out across thousands and thousands of generations, the change becomes enormous. The creature at one end of the chain is not human. The creature at the other end is sitting here asking where humans came from. So how were humans created? Slowly. Not by one event, but by millions of years of bodies changing, brains adapting, tools improving, groups surviving, and knowledge stacking on top of knowledge. Humans were not created like a statue. We were edited into existence, one tiny change at a time.